Hello, my name is Jack, Director of Training for Tulsa Welding School, and today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of TIG welding, okay? I have went ahead and ran a TIG root and hot pass in here just where you can see it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the wrong things to do with the TIG, and then I'll show you the right things to do. So I've went ahead and ran a nice root in here. You can see it, got a nice color, got everything looking good in here. But now I'm going to go and mess it up. It's a shame that I'm going to mess up this weld, but we're going to. But I want to show you all the problems and the things that you don't want to do, the don'ts, if you will. And so we'll talk about long arcing. Long arcing is a big one. When you see your wire balling up and running away from you, it is the telltale sign that you are long arcing. What does that mean? That means that you need to take your tungsten and point it down more into the weld pool. It doesn't mean that you got to point it more at the wire. You need to point it more at the weld pool. Okay, so if the wire is balling up and running away from you, and I'm going to show you this, then that's telling you that you're long arcing. You got to point the tungsten down into the weld pool. Okay, and then what we'll talk about is when we're walking it, I'll try showing you walking it and letting it basically flare out and starting to undercut on the sides. A lot of people ask, why am I getting undercut on my sides? Well, it's especially when you're walking it, you know, you're letting the tip come up, and when the tip comes up out of the puddle, then it goes across and it undercuts on the sides, and then you end up with undercut, and then you're asking, what did I do wrong? Well, it's because you long arced as you were walking the cup. So we're going to show some of those things here today. Like I said, I'm going to show you the first half of this pipe is just going to be all wrong. Everything about it's going to be wrong. I'm going to show you the reasons why too. So we're going to get started here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do long arcing. And then after that, I'll show you not holding the wire in the wrong places and different things like that. So let's get started and showing you all the wrong things, okay? All right, so we've got everything set up. So once again, this is going to be long arcing. So once I fire up, I'm gonna get it going, and then I'm gonna start long arcing. And you'll be able to see the wire balling up and running away from the tungsten. And like I say, when you see this, it is the telltale sign that you are long arcing. You need to point your tungsten back down into the weld pool, okay? So this is a don't. It happens quite a bit, honestly. Here we go. So we're going to fire up, get us a little hot spot in here. All right, we're going to spread it out like we're doing normally. Just how we normally do it, get it going, spreading it out. Everything seems to be going good. And then this starts to happen. And you start to get it away. And why is it not melting to the sides, you ask? You're like, I'm forcing it up there, but it's just not melting. And then you can see the wire balling up and running away. Look at the wire right now. It's got a ball on it and running away from me. Why is that? It's because I'm long arcing. You can see the tungsten is not pointed down into the weld pool. Look at my puddle. Look at this giant ball. Okay, that's no good. Let me spread that out so we don't have a mess. But yeah, this isn't how you want to do it. This is long arcing. When you're going along and all of a sudden you're getting it lean back too much, wire's getting running off, chasing away from you, and you're not spreading it out into the pipe. See how it is? It's not good. All right. Okay, now let me show you having the wire in the wrong place. If you had the wire down low, down here at the bottom, and you're trying to put a hot pass in or a fill in, you see this happen quite a bit. They got it way down at the bottom. Oh, I'm jabbing it too. And if you got it down at the bottom like this, you can't possibly spread it out. You get a big old crown. It eats up the bevel, and then you have a mess. I'm going to stop here so you can see it. Look what we've done to this pipe. You know, we had it going so well, but then we started here. We had it going fine. As you see, as I started long arcing, the wire was balling up, running away from the tungsten, and it just made a mess. I could barely even get it around past that area because it was making such a mess. And then over here, I had my wire obviously down at the bottom on my bevel edge. I couldn't even spread it out because it was too low, and it was causing me lots of problems there too. So as you're running this, whether it be any position basically, you want to make sure if it's in a 2G or 6G position that you hold the wire at the top. Hold the wire at the top So then you can spread the metal from top to bottom, top to bottom. If it's a 5G, obviously you want to keep it in the middle and spread it from side to side. But like I say, if it's a 2G or 6G, like I say, you don't want to have it down on the bottom like this. And like I say, the biggest problem people have is a long arc. And when that wire is balling up and running away from you, put the tungsten back down into the weld pool. All right, now I'm going to show you some other problems. Spin it a little bit. Next problem is going to be as you are walking it or sliding it, you know, that you are basically just getting careless with it, not watching it fuse in, not fusing in from top to bottom. So let's try one of these. So you get it fired up, you get you a little hot spot. Oh, it's okay, it's going good. Get a little hot spot, put a little wire in there. We're watching it spread top to bottom. It's spreading good, we're melting it in, top to bottom. And then something starts to happen. And all of a sudden, it's like, why can I get it to not melt the top? And I'm leaning it back, I'm not watching it spread, and then I've got it like this. And it's kind of hard for me to mess it up because I'm used to not messing it up, honestly. So. Stop there so you can see it. Once again, we had it going pretty good right here. Everything was fine. But then you can see it's starting to crown all up and not burn into the sides. That's once again because we're not focusing the tungsten where we need to be. You know, you're just going along. You're not keeping your head in front of it. And once you get behind it, let me show you again. If you're out here welding like this, it's very difficult to see what you're doing. You should always keep your head in front of it. Stay in front of the welds where you can see it clearly of what you're doing. And then a lot of times people pick the wrong cup sizes. You know, people ask me about what cup sizes. I just try to use whatever can go inside the bevel, you know, especially as I am running my root, hot pass, fill passes. I try to make it to where I can fit it inside the groove because I'm going to try to do a swivel. If we're freehanding, this is totally different, but we're not talking about freehanding. We're talking about lay wire and walking over the wire. And like I say, I just try to get something that swivels inside the groove. Whenever I go to the cap, then I actually go up to a bigger cup and I want to try to get more travel out of my cup, so I use a bigger cup. But like I say, these are some of the areas and the things that people do wrong. And I just want to take a few moments to show you, you know, some of the do's and don'ts, if you will. So I've showed you some of the don'ts, and let me show you some of the good stuff. I'll spin it around so we can run a nice pretty bead here real quick and just show you a nice pretty bead real fast. Okay. Turn it up just a little bit. What do I run mine at normally? I run my TIG, you know, usually I run it about 110 to 120. That's usually what I run mine at with a 1/8 TIG wire 70S. You know, but some people like to run it a little colder, some people like to run it a little hotter. It's really what you feel comfortable doing. All right, so let's show you a nice clean pass in here. Let's run a nice clean one. Here we go. Just take your time, watch it spread to the top to the bottom. Top to the bottom. Hold my wire at the top, trying to hold it level in the pipe so it's not moving all around. You can see my hand is braced off on the table so I have control over my wire. And I'm just watching it melt from top to bottom. All I'm doing is rocking it in the bevel, just up and down motion, nothing fancy. I'm literally just up and down, up and down. Hold my wire at the top. Oh, pulled it out. Hold my wire at the top and just spread it out. Okay. All right, we got a nice little bead there. You can see, nice and smooth, nice and clean. Not too bad. So these are a little bit of the do's and don'ts. Another don't is make sure you always have gas on. With TIG welding, you got to have argon. You could run helium too, but most people run argon. So like I say, make sure you got your gas on. Let me show you what happens when you don't have your gas on. I'll show you right here. This is what happens with no gas. And I'll show you what happens with the wrong polarity too. I'll do that too. But here, this is no gas on here. Here we go. I can't even get it to fire off because it's so bad. Oh man, look at that. The guy's a sparkler. That's no gas. There's no gas. That's a bad thing. Porosity, think of like porosity is like cancer, okay? If you don't get all the cancer out, it usually spreads. Same thing that happens in pipe welding or any welding as far as TIG welding goes. If you have cancer, if you have porosity in there, it's just like cancer. You must remove all of it, get it all out, or if you try to weld over it, it's just gonna spread and keep going with you. So don't try to weld over your porosity. You need to grind it out, but best thing to do is prevention. Don't let it get in there. Make sure you always have your gas on, okay? And while I've got this tungsten all messed up, I'm also gonna go ahead and switch this polarity over real quick, just to show you what happens when you run it on the wrong polarity. It's only gonna take a second, and you'll see exactly what happens in my tungsten. It's going to burn back up into my TIG rig pretty quick, so I'll have to be careful with this. So just 1 second, let me change my leads real quick. Okay, I'm going to show you right here out front just what it looks like so you can see it. It's going to happen fast, so we'll have to be watching for it. But watch my tungsten whenever I strike up here. And this was a telltale sign that you're on the wrong polarity. You got your gas on, you think everything's right, and then this happens. Can you see it? You remember how far my stick out was? Now look at it. It's all burned back up into the tungsten. Anytime you see it burning back into your tungsten like that, it's letting you know you're on the wrong polarity. You need to change your polarity. So what polarity do you run your TIG on? You run it on DC negative. Okay, so that means that your ground is in the positive and your stinger is in the negative. Okay, so make sure you have the right polarity when you're running. Especially with the TIG rig, because you don't want these types of things. So this is a little tutorial on kind of do's and don'ts. You know, like I said, watch out for long arcing. Let's just recap it real quick. Long arcing, wire balling up and running away, long arcing, put it back in, okay? No gas, porosity, think of it as like cancer, spreads, gets worse, no good. Always have gas on. Wrong polarity, eats up your tungsten in just seconds. It won't take you long to figure out that you got it on the wrong polarity because it just eats your tungsten back at you closer and closer. So watch out for these things. Take your time, a lot of practice with the TIG, and you can get it. And, you know, it's just time and practice. Watch the videos, stop by the school, I'll help you and work with you, and you can get better, I promise. So thanks for watching my video. Looking forward to working with you, seeing you at the next time, and have a good one. Thank you. Thank you for watching our video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something today. If you would like to get some more tips and tricks and become a better welder, then subscribe to our channel. And if you would like to learn even more right now, then click on our link. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.